Hey all, today we are going to continue talking about operations with polynomials, and today we will discuss dividing. And you can see I have some polynomial expressions, and a reminder that these are expressions because there is no equal sign. And so we won't be solving, we'll just be simplifying. And so you can see in parentheses I have this polynomial, and we are trying to divide it by this monomial, this one term. And so much like when we did distributing with multiplication, when we have this whole polynomial that we say is divided by this 4b, that means that each piece is going to get divided by this 4b. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 4b underneath each of my three terms in the polynomial. And then maybe I'll scribble this out because I've put it somewhere else. And so what I want to do is divide each of these terms by 4b. So I basically have three problems in one that look like the stuff we did at the beginning of the unit for exponent rules. If I look at this first piece here, I can divide the coefficients. 16 divided by 4 gives me 4. And b to the third divided by b to the 1, these are 1s. I subtract, so I'm going to end up with a b where my biggest exponent is, so that's on top of this fraction. And I'm going to get the exponent by doing 3 minus 1, big minus small, and getting 2. And then we'll put our plus sign. And now I can do the next one. I'm going to do 2 divided by 4. If I do 2 divided by 4 in Desmos, you can see I did 2 divided by 4. I got 0.5. We want a fraction. When I hit the fraction button over here, you can see I get 1/2. So we will be simplifying this 2 over 4 into 1/2. Then we need to do b to the second divided by b to the first power. When we do that, we are going to do the bigger value minus the smaller value, the bigger exponent minus the smaller one, and then our b ends up where the bigger exponent was. So 2 minus 1 is 1. And then we're going to do 4b divided by 4b. 4 divided by 4 is 1. That's b to the first power divided by b to the first power. 1 minus 1 is 0, so that's b to the 0 power. And anything to the 0 power, that whole power turns into to 1. And so really that is a 1. So my final answer here is 4b to the second plus b over 2. I can get rid of those 1s. They're still there, we just don't need to write them. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So this may not look simpler, but it is the simplified version of this division. And when I do the next couple examples, I will try not to do as much writing over here, so it's not as messy, hopefully. So for this problem, I want to divide everything by 9 n to the third. I should always write that, so I'm showing I'm dividing every term by 9 n to the third, and then I'll get rid of that. So 5 divided by 9, that is as simple as it gets, so that's going to stay that way. N to the third divided by n to the third, 3 minus 3 is 0, and so these are essentially going to cancel each other out, and so that's just 5 over 9. 3 divided by 9, if I put that into my calculator, I'm going to get a decimal. I hit the fraction button. Hit the fraction button a couple times. That will turn into 1 over 3. I'm going to do n to the second power divided by n to the third. I subtract the bigger value, so 3 minus 2. So that means my answer is going to be on the bottom. 3 minus 2 is 1. Again, 3 divided by 9 is 1 over 3. Same idea. I have n to the first power divided by n to the third. So I'm going to do my bigger number minus the smaller one. So 3 minus 1. My bigger exponent was on the bottom, so my answer will be on the bottom, and that's 3 over 2. And that is my final answer. So the numbers will change on these, but the process will not. I'm going to divide each term by that monomial I want to divide by, 10n. And then I cross it out, so I know I've put it here. I'm still dividing, but I rewrote it. I divide the coefficients, and I divide the powers. 10 divided by 10 is 1. N to the 4 divided by n to the 1. I subtract the exponents. Big minus small, since the bigger exponent was on top of the fraction, that's where my answer is going to go. 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 divided by 10 is 1 over 5. You can use Desmos to help you with that. 3 is bigger than 1, so my n is going to go on top of this fraction. 3 minus 1 is 2. 40 divided by 10 is 4. I'm doing n to the second power divided by n to the first power, so I'm going to subtract 2 minus 1. That means my answer is going to go on top of the fraction since that's where the bigger exponent was, and I get n to the 1, and this is my final answer. Again, you don't have to write all those ones in there. You could write it like this. Either answer is correct, either answer is acceptable, so do it the way that you feel comfortable. I will do one more. I'm dividing everything by 6, p to the third. And Desmos is definitely your friend, well, in everything that we do, but it will help you simplify these fractions. 18 divided by 6 is 3. When I have the same power on top and the bottom, they turn into p to the 0 here, but really what we can do is just cancel them out and they're gone. 24 divided by 6 is 4. I always subtract the big exponent minus the smaller exponent, and then I put my answer on the side of the fraction where the bigger exponent was. So in this case, the bigger exponent was on the bottom of the fraction, so that's where my result is going to be. 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 divided by 6 is as simple as that gets, so we'll leave it alone. And my bigger exponent is in the bottom of the fraction. 3 minus 1 is 2. So if you struggled with any of these or you're a little confused, please do ask for my help before you move on to the you-try problems so that you can be more successful there. I can help clarify anything that was confusing. If you've asked for help and you feel confident to go ahead and try these two, you should try these two. Put your answers in the answer box. Then when you are done and press play, I will show the answers to you. So check your answers here. If you got one or both wrong, or maybe you got one of the terms incorrect, one of the smaller parts, please do ask me for help if you can't figure out the mistake that you made. It's best to get help now before you move on to the next practice problems that you need to get right to get your credit. Give these ones a try. As always, if you need some help, please ask.